Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Daniel Dominguez, and today we're going to have a look at the suburb of Carlingford in the Parramatta Council. We'll start having a look at the population forecast for the suburb and for the area, and the drivers behind of that population change. Then we'll look into some of the statistics for the suburb and the area, and dive into the opportunities that we believe that we can find in the suburb based on the numbers that we're going to be crunching. And lastly, we're going to have a look at 4 different potential deals that are available for sale right now. So let's dig in. Some of the historical information in terms of migration flows. We can see that the majority of the people that ends up living in Parramatta are coming from overseas and from Ryde and Holroyd councils as well. And in terms of where the Parramatta Council loses its population to, majority goes to Southeast Queensland, and some population going to Blacktown as well. Housing role and function. With progressive residential development of the city, areas have developed different roles within the housing market. Many areas within the city tend to be attractive to established families, such as the northern eastern suburbs of Beecroft, Carlingford, Epping, and Eastwood, as well as Winston Hills. So we can see that Carlingford is definitely a residential area where most of the families tend to like to establish themselves. Established residential areas such as Carlingford, Epping, and Telopia are likely to have increased levels of medium and higher density dwellings following redevelopment of identified precincts around the stations, along main roads, or as a result of a large-scale public housing redevelopment. So Carlingford, it is a very residential area with lots of houses. However, a little bit of that is changing, and some of those more established areas around stations and main roads are most likely changing the zoning for the next few years, and we're probably going to continue to see some medium and higher density dwellings showing up in there. So units, townhouses, that sort of stuff will be popping up in there. But we are looking at houses here today, and we're going to continue to analyze the suburb from a housing perspective. When it comes to population forecast, the city of Parramatta is estimated to grow at about 2.81% on an annual basis for the next 20 years. If we look at Carlingford in specific, we're still looking at a growth of 1.51% per annum, which is a significant and very steady growth. So we should see a lot of people moving and continue to search for properties around Carlingford. So when you look at the housing availability, we already saw that we're most likely going to see majority of these people moving into the new medium and high-end density dwellings. It's in there, which means the demand for housing will continue to be there. However, the supply, it's unlikely to change. In fact, will probably reduce as some of those houses give away space to a lot of those medium and higher density dwellings that will come through. Medium price fluctuates between 1.28, 1.91, and 2.1, depending if you're looking at 3, 4, or 5 bedroom houses. There is a big variance between the entry-level housing and the medium and the high-end, and we're going to look at that a little bit later to actually analyze some of the opportunities that we see in there. We can see that rents are between $570 for 3 bedrooms, $700 for 4, and $785 for 5 bedroom houses. Yields the yields are low, like most of the suburbs in Sydney. Average days in the market around 30 days, depending on the number of bedrooms. Population continues to grow, and that's as according to forecast. We also gonna see a bit of change in the housing configuration. So we can see that separate houses are the clear winner here, but we can see that some of that development that we were talking about just now, we're probably going to start increasing the number of units in townhouses available in the suburb. But you can see the clear winner here is the 4 bedrooms or more configuration. In terms of scoring from the knock-knock application, we can see that we're getting really high scores on 4 different aspects. So the average growth for the past 3 years is scored a 5. So does the population forecast. and the stock on market. So in terms of the number of houses and the houses available for sale, that's scoring really well. Vacancy rates are very low. And then another high scores that we have in there is auction clearance data, days on market, and proportion of renters versus the number of people that actually own a property in the suburb. The bits are not scoring well. The number of sold properties versus the number of properties for sale, vendor discount, and the gross rental yield. We can see here how the medium of the houses have changed in the past 3 years. We have seen a growth from 2020 all the way to the beginning of 2022. However, we start to see a bit of a decline on the low end and on the medium, and I would believe that the high end will follow as well. Quantity of sold properties, we have seen a bit of a decline here in this quarter. We can see that sort of aligns with last year, but interested to see now what happens in the next quarter. Vacancy rates continue to be very low, even units that seems to be dropping over the quarters. Housing sort of continue to reduce over the last few quarters as well. Days on market seems to be just coming up a little bit for houses. However, units, there has been a significant decline on how long it's been taking to sell those units. So we're probably starting to see a bit of a change in demand, probably on the back of housing affordability. Probably people starting to look at the houses, starting to look at units as opposed to houses. Here we can see that the number of sold properties versus the number of properties advertised for sale has declined. So we have dipped below the 60%. So we're starting to see properties taking a little bit longer to sell and probably not selling as per the vendor's expectation. Now let's have a look at the opportunities. Again, when looking at the medium and the high end of the market, we can see that we have a higher variation between 3 and 4 bedrooms as opposed to 5. So we can see 3 bedrooms have a variation of around 53%, 4 bedrooms 32%, and 5 bedrooms have a 21% variation between the low and the medium end. So when we're looking at potentially acquiring a property on the low end and then trying to manufacture some growth and bring that the value of the property up, there are things that you can do to get there, if it's a renovation or knockdown rebuild. And this is basically the opportunities that we're looking at. So when crunching these numbers, we can see that houses for 3 and 4 bedroom represent to have this bigger variation, and that's where we can see this opportunity for a renovation popping up. We can see that 5 bedrooms don't have as much variation as 3 and 4. However, that is still an opportunity to potentially convert a 3 or 4 bedroom house into a 5 bedroom house and trying to maximize your upside that way. Potential for knockdown and rebuild, definitely. So if you can buy something on the low end, knock it down and build a new house in there and potentially bring that new house into the high end of the market, there is room for an upside there as well. So this is probably strategies that can work in the suburb of Carlingford. Now we're going to have a look at some of the deals available for sale right now that you can potentially leverage for an upside. So let's dig in. Property number 1, number 16 Edinburgh Avenue in Carlingford. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 car spots, 696 square meters. For sale between 1.65 and 1.8. So this property is being picked up by 3 different filters on our application. The first filter that we have in there is it is at least 10% below the median price for a 4-bedroom house. So the second filter is being a big block of land within the price range that we're looking at, and the opportunities that you can potentially do with that additional land on your hands. The last filter that we have here is a knockdown and rebuild, but we will have a look to see if there is an opportunity maybe for a renovation instead of knockdown rebuild, because the 2 of them are very similar, and it's just a matter of having a look at which one makes the most sense. On the backyard, you can see the house has a pool, has a bit of a covered area and 2 levels. From the outside, the house seems to be in a good condition. And we can see that we have probably some old sort of style of tiles in the living areas. The kitchen could do with an upgrade. So does the bathroom, but they seem functional. Bedroom 1 has some laminate flooring. That part of the house, you can see from the top how the house sits on the block of land. You can see it's probably a bit of a slope here, a bit of bush surrounding the property. In terms of location, it is in a quiet sort of street environment, close to the amenities around the suburb. We can see that we have on the lower level the garage, a family room, a rumpus, laundry, some storage, and a bathroom. On the top here, we have the bedrooms in one side and the living areas in the kitchen on the other side. My view on this property is that in terms of opportunity is first one is of course buying well. So if you can secure a property below the medium and you can capitalize on that is always a plus. And I think the second opportunity here potentially is a renovation because you seem to have a lot of space on the bottom here. You could even convert this into a sort of an attached granny flat or an area that you could have a teenagers retreat or even sort of grandparents live. You could even do something along those lines here, but or just adding a bedroom. So it seems to have a lot of sort of living areas on the bottom and on the top. So I think either a spare bedroom or an office space here will do quite well. And then just probably making a better use of that massive laundry that we're having here and that storage space. So we can probably use this space in a slightly different way. And then just updating the top of the house. I see some opportunity there, probably more on the renovation than actually a knockdown and rebuild. So number 98 Baker Street in Carlingford has a price guide of 1.68 million and is coming up in 2 of our filters. So the first filter that it's coming through is the at least 10% below the median for a 4-bedroom house. And the second filter tells us that there is a big block flag on this property, which means that we think the pricing, we're also getting the benefit of a bit of additional land space that help us to potentially identify some different opportunities for this property. The property looks nice. It looks to be like a solid brick house. We have like an older style sort of house with some, is that some wallpaper on the top or some feature? I'm not sure. But the house looks okay, but we have a dated kitchen that will definitely help to get a bit of an update in there. Yeah, we can see some old style cabinetry in there. We have a little bit of outdoor space, which is always good. We have a swimming pool, and I believe that's the garage that has an access from the side. The bathroom looks to be up to date. The bedroom is quite spacious. So we have the driveway on the side street here with the garage and the pool. So looking at the house configuration, we have 3 bedrooms over here, where 2 of them are actually on the smaller side, and then we have bedroom number 1 and potentially bedroom number 4 here, which could also be a grandpa's room. Study, meals, kitchen, dining, and lounge. So very formal sort of segmentation of the house. So the opportunity here, in my view, is probably updating the house a little bit. I think there is potentially room to open the floor plan in this older style house. If you can convert this back room into your main bedroom, I think it would be a good way of adding some value to the property. Property number 3, we have a house with a granny flat in Carlingford. We don't have an address. We have an asking price of 1.659, and it's being flagged to be at least 10% below the median for 5 bedrooms house in this suburb. So looking at the picture, we only have one picture for this property, and we can see it just from outside. But we can assume that the granny flat is an attached granny flat at the bottom on the lower ground of this property. So you probably have a 1-bedroom, a kitchen, and a small living area in this lower level, and then we probably have another 4 bedrooms on the top here. Hard to determine without a floor plan and more details from the pictures here, but having a granny flat is always a plus, especially if you're looking ways of sort of help you in terms of cash flow, because you could live on the main house and rent the bottom bit, but if you have a big family, you could have in-laws or a teenager sort of retreat on the bottom where they can have a separate living configuration from the rest of the house. It's hard to say, but I would expect the house probably needs a bit of renovation without seeing or having a look at the pictures and looking at the price point. But I think it's one of those properties that it's probably worthwhile having a further look. Let's have a look at property number 4, number 7, Pennant Parade in Carlingford. So we have an auction guide of 2 million for this property. It's being picked up by our large block flag. From the outside, the house looks to be nice. We have a nice big backyard, swimming pool, and lots of space. Very bright open space on the living areas. Kitchen has been updated. Nice spacious living setting. Just another angle for that same. We have a bit of a covered sort of balcony. We have a garage at the bottom. We seem to have a mud room or something along those lines here. A kitchenette, that's interesting. We have a bathroom and a big sort of rumpus or office space on the bottom. On the top, we have all the bedrooms. So we have the bedrooms on this side of the house, and we have the living areas and the kitchen in this side. So in my view here, the opportunity is probably buying well because the house seems to have had a bit of work. It seems to be in a pretty good condition, so I don't think a renovation would be even worthwhile at this stage. But the key opportunity here is buying well. Another house is going for auction, but in this market, you just never know. Depending on competition, you could secure a deal. So it's probably worthwhile checking a little bit further. And that brings us to the end of the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. And hopefully I see you back here next week when we analyze another suburb and a few other properties. If you like any of the properties here, please make sure that you have a look at the link below in the description where you can see each one of those properties in detail in our application, Knock Knock. And if you are a serious buyer, please make sure that you do your own due diligence, have a chat with your solicitor, make sure that your finance ready, do all your building and pest inspections before you make an offer. That's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.